Hey, what's up guys? It's Mike here from Blaspsoft, and today I just want to share with you the official release of Blasp v4. Now, for those of you who don't know, Blasp is a Laravel package for profanity detection. I've rebuilt it from the ground up. It's probably about 18 months old now, and over the past, throughout that time I've had some great feedback and some great PRs for which ultimately have made Blasp better. But now I thought it was the time to basically rebuild this from the ground up in hopes to make it better. So I just want to share with you today what these changes are. So yeah, the rewrite is essentially because I just wanted it to feel more like a first-party Laravel package. I don't know why. I just really enjoy or really like how the Laravel team put together their packages, and I wanted to make Blasp feel like that. So I've added a few things in terms of a driver-based system for the profanity strategies in how we locate and identify the profanities, and also just making the actual Blasp object more fluent, expressive, and more builder-like, which is the same for a lot of the official Laravel packages. So just to dive a little bit deeper into the driver architecture, there's currently 3 main drivers, being the Regex pattern and Phonetic, with the pipeline being the additional driver, but the pipeline just basically ingests the other drivers in terms of what you want to check against. So Regex is very much like how Blasp works now. It kind of captures everything. Substitutions, separators, etc. Pattern is just like a straight match, and then Phonetic is obviously self-explanatory, and then the pipeline. So let's just go to the next slide, as there's a few examples in terms of how these are used. So as you can see, it's quite straightforward. Use the Blasp facade with the driver. Specify the driver and chain on the check method, and then pass your text into that check method. Now, if you wanted to use the pipeline, you simply go into your config, into the Blasp config if you publish it, specify the pipeline driver, and then within the pipeline array, you then specify which drivers you want to use. Okay, so then just building upon the API, I tend to use just this bottom one, the Blasp check, and then I pass in the text, because I usually define all the default behavior I want in the Blasp config. But there have been times when I've had to reach for something, or something that I want to kind of override, which is where I think this nice Fluent API comes in a little bit better. This is a new feature, and it's been kind of requested a few times throughout the past 18 months or so, but it's severity scoring. Now, this was a bit difficult to implement, not because of not from a technical standpoint, but really from the fact it can be quite opinionated in terms of what you deem those profanities, like which categories those profanities fit in. So I've kind of logically gone, these are the categories I would use. So, but there's also the added flexibility there. If you wish to change that, you can publish the language config files, and you are then able to, chop and change whatever you feel necessary for your particular project or your particular use case. Okay, and then there's obviously with the additional methods for min severity checks, etc., on the actual Blasp object. So hopefully it just gives you a bit more flexibility and freedom to do what you will when it comes to the severity scoring. The 4 same languages are still supported in Blasp version 4, so English, Spanish, German, and French. Dutch is coming soon. There is an active PR out there. I can't remember the guy who submitted it, but thank you. And just as a side note, my primary language is English. I don't know any other languages, so any PRs or any suggestions to add new languages is always welcome. as it is always a good addition to add any more languages to the Blasp package. So moving on to the actual kind of Laravel integration now in terms of what is supported. So one of the new things which is probably one of my favorites is the Blaspable trait. So this is where you can add the Blaspable trait to an eloquent model and basically have it either mask the profanity when it goes when a record is inserted or updated against that model, or have it being prevented from going in to the database at that point. And it's quite simple. At the basic level, you add the Blaspable trait to the model. You add the protected property, and then you define what columns you want it to essentially look at. We've also added the same with middleware, so you can perform checks via middleware. And we've also added a blade directive. So if you do have some profanities stored raw in your database, or if that's the way you prefer to do it, and you prefer just to mask on the front end, you can just reach for the Blasp blade directive, and that will basically mask those profanities in your blade templates. We've also added the string macro, which is, just another kind of easy helper, and building on the validation rule. So we did have a simple validation rule in previous versions, but this one just adds like the better Blasp object where you can reach for a few more methods in order to get what you want it to do. So as you can see, I've tried to cover a lot of basis in terms of how you prefer to use Laravel, because there are, as you know as well as I do, there's a dozen different ways to achieve the same thing in Laravel, and everyone kind of has their preferences. So we've tried to cater for that in the Blasp version 4 package. Moving on to masking strategies now. So the asterisk is still the main default masking character. You can update this in the config if you wish to whatever character you prefer. We've added the Grawlix strategy, and there is also a custom callback where you can define your own masking strategy if you wish. So again, just some more flexibility there. Nothing major, but you choose your preference and do what you will with that. And finally, we've got the Blasp fake. So if you've got some tests that you want to write where you need to include Blasp, you no longer have to use the actual real object. You can now basically use the test double to mimic the Blasp behavior, and I think that's just like a nice little feature there. Okay, so to get started, Blasp version 4 is out now. Head over to github.com/blaspsoft/blasp, and you can then just install via Composer. Laravel 13 is supported out of the box, and if you prefer not to use the Blasp package, or if you're a non-Laravel developer or have some projects that are non-Laravel based, we do have an official API at blasp.app where it basically you have the same thing. You can log in, you can manage your profanity lists, etc. And that's it. So yeah, thank you all for watching. If you would like me to create some more videos delving deeper into Blasp in terms of how to use the package, let me know in the comments. And if you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon. Bye bye.